silence of the night was shattered by Keldrian the Unhinged calling for his slave. Argus entered his master's tent and bowed low. "What is your will, my master?" "They are gone!" the wizard howled, sending a blast of magical energy into the wooden table in the tent, turning it into scorched kindling. "What are gone, master?" "My custom velvet slippers, you fool! Someone has obviously gained entrance to our camp and stolen from me. Drive out your beasts and have them kill anything they find within 200 yards of this camp." "I will do that if that is your wish, master. But it may draw the attentions of the Dark Elves that our scouts have seen sign of." The raging wizard stopped moving and looked to Argus. "Dark Elves, you say?" "Yes, master. I reported this to you this morning, but you were engaged in your research and perhaps did not hear me." "This is fantastic, Argus!" "Master?" "The only thing softer than velvet slippers is socks made from the skin of Dark Elves, particularly their women. They use blood to keep their flesh so supple. Be a good slave, Argus, and prepare our forces for battle." "Yes, master," Argus replied with a smirk. Though he may not understand his master's motives, there was never a lack of bloodshed in the service of Keldrian the Unhinged. Alright, so this is our battle, and I'm sorry I forgot to take a picture of the battle before turn 1 movement, so I've moved. Pretty much a very small area, not much terrain. The one thing to take particular note of is I am attempting to earn the Warriors of Chaos power Scaly Skin here. And so the objective that Skip set before me, that forest directly in front of him is a poison forest. He got to place it anywhere on the board, and I have to reach it with one of my units and attempt to search the forest for treasure before the end of the game. If I can do that, then I have earned Scaly Skin. If I do not, then I have not earned that particular power. So, beyond that, the actual win conditions for the game are just normal battle lines. So this does give me some other piece that I have to get to as well. So it should be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and get into deployment. So as you can see, the Dark Elf forces are very tight. Up in front there is a unit of the Dark Elf crossbowmen. Next to that is a Bloodrack Medusa. Behind them to the right is a unit of Blackguard. Now those who paid attention to the last game may have remembered that his Blackguard were supposed to be deserters for this game, but we forgot about that, so bad us. Then next to that on the left is his unit of Corsairs, and in there is his level 2 caster woman, Alyssa, I think her name is, and she is to the lore of dark magic. Now, he does not have any other characters and no BSB in this army, so taking a risk, but we'll see if it pays off. And then over here on the other side of the poison forest to protect it is his repeater bolt thrower. And for the warriors, and again this is after movement on turn 1, so you can see where I moved, I have a unit of 3 trolls. Behind them is Keldrian the Unhinged, my level 2 mage to lore of metal, marked Zinch on a disc. Then I have my 15 Corn Warriors with additional hand weapons. With them is Argus of the Moors, my BSB, and he has Soul Feeder and an additional hand weapon. Then a second group of 3 Chaos Trolls. Then over on this side, I have my Gorebeast Chariot, which is marked to Zinch. So you pretty much saw that my movement was very aggressive. I ended up having the trolls jump in the water here so that they could search it for treasure. And I did succeed in finding 11 gold pieces. And since there's no character in this unit either has to survive or I have to get a character to join, one of my named characters to join them before that becomes a permanent addition to my army. But I'm thinking this is definitely a good start. 11 gold pieces for the warriors is definitely where I want to be. Then we go to magic. And I try and cast Glittering Robes on the whole group. And miscast. First spell out of the gate. And I drop a big template on my caster, who wounds my caster, my BSB, who failed his lookout, sir, and kills one of the Corn Warriors, which is awesome. On the plus side, I'm not sucked down the hole, but I do lose all of the remaining dice. So that's the end of Magic. So we go into Dark Elf turn 1. The Medusa comes up hard. He wants to eliminate the trolls that have found the money so that I don't get it, and everything else he's pretty much staying very tight in on. So during Magic, there was nothing really important enough for him to risk a miscast on, so he didn't cast anything. And then the Medusa tries to use its turn to Stone Gaze on the trolls and manages to sneak through a single wound. So my turn 2, you can see my chariot on the right is still moving around to try and get to his bolt throwers. The trolls that were in the river charge the Medusa. The other trolls move up, and Keldrian is following them so that he can stay within leadership range. And then the Corn Warriors move in the building because they're going to loot it for treasure. And then during Magic, I attempt to cast Glittering Robes again on the trolls who are in combat. My second spell of the game, mind you. And I miscast again and roll another template. Drop it on him, and Keldrian kills himself with magical explosions. Awesome. This is really ridiculous. At this point, this is I think the fourth game straight that I have miscast on turn 1. But at any rate, so we go into combat. Obviously, the trolls absolutely murder the Medusa. They do nothing back, and I overrun here, figuring I needed to hit something, because without my general's leadership now, those trolls are just going to stand around. But I ended up coming like an inch too short to hit the corner of those crossbowmen. So Dark Elf turn 2. Skip is being very patient. He knows that those trolls are unlikely to be able to go into anything, so he's not rushing in until he's ready. He slides his crossbowmen over to the side. They're going to start shooting at the troll group on the left, and he's lining up his executioners for a charge on their right once those crossbowmen are out of the way. Because little beknownst to me, the executioner, or not the executioners, the Blackguard have the flaming banner. Then over here during shooting, he hits the chariot with the bolt thrower and inflicts 3 wounds on it. So then he didn't do any wounds to the trolls with his crossbowmen, so we go into my turn 3. Both troll groups fail their rerollable 4 leadership stupid tests and stumble forward a couple inches. But in what is the first good news of the game for me, my chariot manages to succeed a charge into the bolt thrower, and I'm almost certain to kill that on impact hits, which is awesome. And if I can do that, then it leads me the ability to get into the forest, loot it, get my scaly skin before he murders me. Because the game is just going really, really badly for me at this point, losing my general and only source of magic that early. And then the Warriors, having looted the building last turn, they step out the side here, and I'm not really sure what to do with those stupid trolls in the way. I'm really blocked up. So I figured I'd bring them out on this side so that they can't take any shots from the bolt thrower in case it somehow survives. And just kind of wait for an opening. And we go into combat, and easily the Gorbeast chariot munches on the bolt thrower, and I decide to just turn this way because I do have the side of his unit of Blackguard in view in case I want to get in there. Otherwise, I can just move into the Poison Forest next turn, pray I don't fail my dangerous terrain, and loot the bastard and get my scaly skin, and I'll be counting that as a win. So we go into Dark Elf turn 3, I think this is. His Blackguard charged the trolls. I'm stupid and I have to stand. And then his other guys, the Corsairs, swift reform and start moving around so he can bring his mage who has Doombolt over to my chariot so he can try and blast the chariot before I can loot the Poison Forest. And what is this? I don't know why he's taken some wounds. It looks like he's taking some... Okay, I guess this... No, this can't be after combat. I have no idea what this picture is. Oh wait, no, I remember. He miscast Doombolt. Kills two of his own guys, but that's it. But the Doombolt does not manage to wound the chariot, so that's what that is. And over here, the crossbowmen shoot the trolls and manage to squeeze two wounds through. So things are looking good for him, and really the likelihood of those trolls being anything at this point is not very good. So he's kind of hiding behind them, pinging the trolls, and hoping to score some points for them by the end of the game. And then during combat, needless to say, with the flaming banner on them, the Blackguard absolutely eat those three trolls, and he sort of reforms here, so he could get at my other trolls or the warriors if they decide to get froggy and come forward. So then we go into my turn. The trolls fare their stupid and go forward an inch. The warriors attempt to charge the blackguard and fail and end up against the wall. The chariot attempts to charge the blackguard and fails and ends up like 1 inch inside of the forest. I do pass my dangerous terrain though, and so nothing dies. I was figuring if I had any chance to destroy this blackguard, I had to hit him with everything, so that's why I didn't just move in and loot the forest. But obviously that didn't work. So, we with nothing else to do, we go into Dark Elf turn. He charges the Blackguard against the wall, which I still think they've got the advantage there, even though they're swinging at -1. He backs up his shooters a little bit and moves his guys into the forest so he could either loot or keep shooting me with magic, either one. So they try and he doesn't, or he gets magic off again, gets the Doombolt off, and again doesn't wound, because even with Doombolt at strength 4, he's needing to roll 6s to wound that chariot, so it's just not happening. And then he shoots at the trolls, kills one of the trolls, and puts a wound on the second troll. So he's actually making some decent progress against them. So we go into combat, and these two units slam the ever-living crap out of each other. I'm in a challenge with his champion out of the unit. I kill it with my BSB, and all I get for the Eye of the Gods is a reroll. But he ends up killing 4 or 5 of my warriors. I kill 4 or 5 of his guys. He ends up winning by 1. So I lose my frenzy, but I don't break, and we go into next turn. So start of my next turn, I decide to ignore this group here and go ahead and loot the forest. So I have achieved my side objective and gained scaly skin. I also gained a few, I think it was 7 or 8 gold pieces from the attempt as well. So all things considered, pretty good. And then we go into combat. And as you can see, combat was messy again. But I only win by 1 or 2, and he's stubborn. And it's at this point I think that the Blackguard realized that they deserted last game, and he rolled a 10. And he has no BSB, so he breaks and runs. I do not catch him, but as running, I clip the back end of these Corsairs, so I change it, and it turns into a charge into their flank, and the Blackguard stop 2 inches from the edge of the board. Then we go into Dark Elves' turn, and he rolls a 10 again for the rally attempt on the Dark Elves and fails, and so they run right off the board. So I guess they just were like, we're going to desert now. So super bad luck for Skip. It really, this game was literally his for the taking until that one die roll came and started turning things around. So we go into combat there. I end up breaking his Corsair unit. I do not catch them. They run off the board and escape, so his character is not in any danger of losing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All he's got left are those crossbowmen now. So it's my turn next, and all I do is I take my BSB out, who has healed himself up, by the way. He got soul feedered during that last fight, so he's at full. And take him out of the unit and hide in front of it so that he's got heavy cover from the crossbowmen if they try and shoot, and there's no risk of them shooting into the warriors, breaking the unit, and having him run off the table. And the trolls keep failing their leadership, so they're just stupidly standing in front of the crossbowmen. So we go into Skip's turn 6. The crossmen do decide to turn around and take shots at the warriors, and they fail to wound. So that's it. Alyssa Nightblade and the Bloodblades knew that the campsite had been lost. Following the cowardly blackguard as they fled, she cursed. She had had the battle in hand. She called for the Bloodblades to halt and let the fleeing blackguard continue without them. Let the cowardly bastards die, she hissed. They took a different route back to the main camp. Upon returning, she sought out her brother Darius, who was studying a map of the area. I see you returned with only a few of the Bloodblades, sister. Did you suffer another loss to the reptiles? He said with a touch of sarcasm. No, brother. We were attacked by Tzeentch scum. I had the battle in hand, but your elite guard chose to flee instead of fighting as they did before. I left them to die as they deserve. Father will be displeased with your performance, my dear sister. Perhaps I need to strike some retribution for you. Return to the Ark and tell Father of the Guard's error in judgment, and I shall deal with the God of Change's minions. There's a tower near that campsite that I need to enter. It contains a book that I desire. If you could retrieve that for me after you deal with the scum, Alyssa said with a crooked smile. Anything for you, dear sister. Darius smiled as well, knowing exactly what book his sister craved. Alright, so we had a victory for the Warriors of Chaos, which I will have to admit was totally and completely undeserved. But between what I had looted and my victory roll being gaining 2d6 extra gold, the Warriors of Chaos ended up with 29 gold pieces at the end of the game, and have earned the Scaly Skin upgrade. So now I can spend points on giving any of my characters Scaly Skin in addition to the normal 15-point upgrades that I have to start the game with. The Dark Elves, on the other hand, have not earned any gold, and we decided just to keep the result Blackguard deserted and force that on him for the next game. It's no big deal. And at popular request, we are including the total elves lost to dangerous terrain counter, and this is for the whole campaign. Skip is up to 9. He lost 7 in the first game and lost 2 more when his guys just barely touched the poison forest there. So, there it is, guys. All in all, this was a lot of fun. My luck at the beginning. I really just should stop taking magic altogether. It's really hurting me. I really would have liked to see what Keldrian did. Now, because Keldrian was destroyed by magic and not in combat, I did not have to roll for a character death roll for him. Nor did Alyssa have to roll because she fled off the table as opposed to being killed in combat. So there was no risk of character death in this game. All in all, I kind of like the Warriors of Chaos build I have. I want to play with it a little more. I think the 2 little 3-man troll units at this point value can do a lot of damage, provided I can keep my general around long enough for them to be worth anything. And I was reminded again how freaking badass Khorne Warriors with extra hand weapons are. That's a lot of strength 4 attacks. But all in all, it was a fun game. Skip definitely is playing the Dark Elves much better. He was being very cagey. He wasn't being overly aggressive to the point where I could make use of it. And he hit back when he needed to, and he hit back hard. In fact, I think the only reason that I wasn't tabled is that he had that one bad leadership role. And I think it does just show how important BSBs are, but I don't know how he can fit it in at this particular point value. I told him he should go with the Gleaming Pennant, because it's a 5-point item, he can take it. But he was like, well, if I had done that, then I wouldn't have had the flaming attacks on him to deal with the trolls, so I'm not entirely sure. Definitely, if you want to give Skip some advice, pop over to his channel, where I think he will be doing sort of summary videos of his thinking after each game, but we're definitely going to go on. The Dark Elves are not going to let this affront go unpunished, and they are planning a counter-attack. Hopefully they can kill Keldrian before Keldrian finishes making socks out of their dead. Um, but we will see. That will be next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, if you have any comments, leave them below, and we will get to them as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time. Thanks.